All right, welcome into another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mack here on 1010XL's podcast platform at 1010XL.com. We're also on Facebook Live on 1010XL's Facebook page and, of course, streaming on the relevant app, the group message and chat app with live interactive podcasts all throughout. We've now added a video component. So how you doing out there? Welcome into the studio. You normally hear me. Now you can see me as well. A lot going on. Holy cow. I feel like I haven't been here forever. I feel like I haven't been on, especially here in the studio. But nonetheless, lots going on. I tell you what, I know March Madness is exciting, and I didn't watch a lick of it. Just old man syndrome on a Thursday night. I mean, my St. Patty's Day went from, all right, we're going to go out, we're going to hit it, and then next thing you know, I'm sipping on Tullamore Dew and having some Guinness. And I'm chilling at the house with my wife and two daughters. We ordered food and then went and saw friends that are nearby at their house. That was my St. Patrick's Day. I checked in a little bit on the tourney, but I didn't watch a lick of it. But I tell you what, what's going on in the National Football League right now rivals the excitement of March Madness. Graham, my producer's here. What's up, Graham? How you doing, dude?
Sir. How are you?
You hung over today?
I'm
Go
not.
out last night?
I'm not. I did not go out.
You didn't go out for St. Patty's Day?
No.
Man, you're young. You got to be going out for St. Patty's Day.
I was at a buddy's house.
Okay.
Locked into the madness.
Were you?
But
you're like Portnoy on Barstool. You guys hang out in chairs and couches and gamble and root and go crazy when your team wins?
I did win $240 last night.
Oh, nice.
On St. Peter's upsetting Kentucky because Kentucky wanted a little bit of a run.
Yep.
And whenever the underdog gives up like an 8-10 point run,
yep,
the odds shoot over to the favorite.
And is that when you jumped on it?
I got them at plus 1,200 odds.
Really?
Took them, and then they went on a 10-0 run and won the game.
Dude, fantastic. 240 bills, man. That means you're buying this weekend. Don't tell your friends. Don't tell your friends. I can tell all your friends, though, that the Jacksonville Jaguars are trying to change everything. And I tell you what, just coming fresh and hot off the radio, you hear every interview. Now, let's keep in mind, it's the honeymoon. They all just got paid. They're all going to say the right things. But I will tell you this. Every one of them sounded polished. Sounded like a veteran, like a true pro, accountability, going to get after it, teamwork. I think what it tells me is the kind of culture Doug Peterson's trying to build. He's bringing in those kinds of guys, which I like. Very good players, high-level type players, but also guys that they seem to get it, at least initially. Again, you can't get too caught up in it because, they've got to put on an act to a show to a certain degree, but it felt genuine, and it felt like, these are the kind of guys you want on your team. These are the kind of guys you want in your locker room. And look, you've heard all the names. I love the Christian Kirk signing. The whole money thing, it's amazing to me. And I get it. You got to ask questions, but why would you ever ask a player that just signed, like, basically, do you think you're worth the money? I'd be like, shut up with your question. Go ask team management if I'm worth the money. They're the ones that are giving me the money. They're the ones offering me the money. It's not your money either. So why do you care if I may or may not be overpaid at this current time? And let's be honest, a year from now, 2 years from now, we're going to find out if the value's there. Because if Christian Kirk goes out and does what they expect him to do, then you're not going to care about the money. You're not. Are you going to care if this guy goes out and scores 8 touchdowns for you? 10 touchdowns, whatever it is? Are you going to care how much they pay him? You're not. So why care now? Also, I just think it's a foolish question. It's not fault. Sorry to cut you off. It's not fault, but it's not his fault that they wanted to pay him that much money. I would have taken it too. And I say all the right things too. And I would believe in my abilities too. So I don't know why everyone gets caught up in arms about this. How do you pay the guy? Who cares what we pay anybody? As long as their play on the field matches that, like that's their value, right? Their value on the field matches that sticker price. And that remains to be seen. Look, if Scherf's not healthy, that's a terrible move. If he misses the amount of games that he's missed, he missed 6 last year.
Yeah.
He missed 5 before. He missed a half a season before. Those are in the last 4 years. So what if, and look, I think Brandon Scherf's a phenomenal player. I like the signing. He's better than Norwell. By the way, they did a swap. Norwell's going up back with Ron Rivera up in Washington. Good for him. Got nothing, no ill will, but he wasn't the guard that I expected him to be when we made him the highest paid guard in the league. Maybe Ron can turn that around. But I tell you what, I'll take Scherf over Norwell. We did the swap.
For sure.
And, again, I don't care about the money. Good for him. He's going to make a ton of money. But if he doesn't stay healthy and give us what we need, then it's not a good signing at all. You definitely overpaid for Brandon Scherf. Zay Jones. Who is Zay Jones? Leading receiver out of college. I didn't know that. Had 158 catches his senior year.
Yeah.
158 from East Carolina. That's massive. Now, suppose he's got great hands. Take him all day long. Again, I don't care about the contract. I don't care that he's, and I'll be honest, I said on the radio, I'm like, I don't really even know him. Who's Zay Jones? Well, he's going to come in here and prove who he is. Did we overpay him? To me, if you're going to say we overpaid Kirk, well, you overpaid a guy that he really hasn't done anything in the pros on a consistent basis. But you're not paying for that. You're paying for upside, future. What's he going to give us? Where do we value him? If Zay Jones comes in here and is a great number 2 or number 3, and he produces for us, we didn't overpay anything. He's bringing the value. So I don't know. I think people get too caught up. And I love the pundits. Oh, they got to listen, jackasses. We have to fully rebuild. It's like gutting a house. Okay? We've won 4 games in 2 years. You sons of bitches. I mean, it's unbelievable. Oh, they have to buy the team. Well, no doubt you do. That's what free agency's for, to improve your team. And I think we have. On paper, I think we have. I like the Darius Williams. He's the latest corner from L.A. Rams, who just won a Super Bowl. Local kid from Jacksonville comes home. Fantastic. I was a little surprised by that. Like I felt like we got Tyson, we got Shaquille. Now you bring in Darius, you re-sign Trey Herndon. Not that Trey's a starter, but he's a good guy to have if you need a fill-in. You need 3 or 4 DBs today, don't you? I mean, the way these offenses are run, so who cares who's 1, who's 2, who's 3? You need 3 really good ones so you could look at it that way. Foley Fatukasi, I'm really excited about this guy because all I hear, and look, take it for what it's worth, but Jets fans, people that watch the Jets, literally call me like, oh, you're going to love this guy. This guy. And by the way, I learned on Jaguars Today from Demps that this was their number 1 on free agent target on defense. Not the linebacker out of Atlanta, Aluakin. That's not who was number 1. This guy was. And I like it because why? Because Devon Hamilton, who I thought, and I still think he's got potential, and Malcolm Brown, they did not get the job done. They did not. They got pushed around way too much last year. So here comes a guy, big, plays a position very well against the run, and he believes he's more than a run stuffer. If we get some pass rush out of a run stuffing defensive tackle, Calais Campbell-esque, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a great addition. Then you throw in the linebacker, Lewican, who comes in from Atlanta. Miles Jack, I guess he had to go. The only thing, I wish Miles well. I do. The only thing and I'm not holding it against him at all, but holding the police on, I never agreed with. I didn't think he should have done that. Whatever. I don't hold it against him. But if I had to say anything on a not so, positive note for Miles Jack, that would be it. Other than that, I've met him in great guy. He's great for the team. He's great for his organization. There's no doubt. Pittsburgh gobbled him up right away. Brian Flores, Mike Tomlin, Miles Jack. I guarantee you Miles Jack is going to have a phenomenal couple years in Pittsburgh. They let go of Schobert. Miles Jack's a phenomenal athlete, and I think he could be a phenomenal linebacker. I think he got out of sorts a little bit. Last year wasn't his best year. It wasn't. But so in overall general terms, he didn't live up to his contract. I think that's fair to say. He had one really good year at Will before they moved him to Mike, and then they moved him back to Will. But those years at Mike and Will weren't as productive as they needed to be. So they feel they upgraded. Although Aluakin played Mike last year for Atlanta, played Will before that, I would expect him to be Will. And then, look, if I'm Shaq Quarterman, I'm pretty like, I mean, they may draft a middle backer, but maybe they really like you as a run stuffer, and that's all they need you for. What a great role that would be for Shaq Quarterman, who comes downhill and hits you, and you need that out of a middle backer. There's no doubt about that. So I think overall, and then you got Evan Ingram. Look, that's a project. It's not a project. It's a prove it. Athletically phenomenal. And his stats are decent. I mean, I think we talked on the radio that 44 catches were the least amount of catches he's had in his 4 or 5 year career. That's more than any tight end we've had. We don't go to the tight end, but hopefully now, and he said that in his press conference, Ingram did, that Doug Peterson's use of tight ends helped him make his decision. So, hey, look, overall, I think it's good. Like you said, Graham, before show, they're not done. I hope they're not done. I do, for me, look, I know they've got Cam. They offered Cam the tag. Word is they're trying to get a long-term deal with him, probably a 4-year deal. It would reduce the cap. It would help to bring in other people if you wanted to go that route. I'm okay with that. I would love to see Lael Collins from Dallas. I would love to see him. Can you imagine Scherf at right guard, Collins at right tackle? Oh, throw Little at guard. You got Cam still, maybe. I know everyone's thinking number one at Hutchinson, like D end. If Neal's my number one player, I don't care if we still have Cam and you get Collins, I may still take him. You need a great offensive line. We know this right across the board. 5 across. They've got to be not just good, not just average. They have to be almost great. And great would be icing on the cake. But that's the kind of offensive line you need to win in the National Football League. And in that sense, I would get rid of Linder and free up that money and let Shatley be my center going in. And then I draft a center at some point in the draft. We got 12 picks. You can find a center with the 12 picks. So overall, I like it. Hey, how about this? Hey, I want to get your take on this. Fans' heads must have exploded when Andrew Wingard got offered his restricted free agent tender. How about that? I mean, seriously, new staff comes in. Who are they re-signing? Says a lot about that player. You got a whole new staff coming in. They're like, I don't know you. You're not my guy. I didn't draft you. Whatever. But Wingard, they like him. And fans are like, how can you like him? And they give me all this stuff and all this. But guess what? They like him, or they wouldn't have tendered him.
He's been well-liked by 3 staffs in a row.
He has.
He got drafted by the Marone staff. Played that year. They liked him a lot.
Yeah, totally. Good for him.
Those guys are all gone. The Urban staff comes in. They like him a lot. He basically starts the entire year.
Right.
They're all gone. Yep. The new staff comes in and they like him.
And they tender him when you're a restricted free agent. That's what they do. They give you a grade and good for him.
I think Wingard's one of those guys that's easy to poke fun at when they're not playing well, yep. Because he was undrafted, right? Or like a 7th round pick.
I think he was undrafted. Yeah. I can't really remember. Undrafted
guy. He's got the hair. Yep. He's made a couple bad mistakes in his time here.
But he's made a lot of plays too.
Made plays.
Yeah. I like him. I'll tell you this, Graham, and I don't mean to cut you off, but you know what? Guys like him, you need on your team. Because they're going to give it everything they've got every single time. They're going to be smart most of the time. They're going to really care about their performance because they know they're right there on the bubble. They can be gone at any moment, but he does it right. He works hard. And again, 3rd staff that wants him. So all you fans that don't like Wingard, you need to take a look at that. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Obviously, you like who you want and who you don't like. But I'll tell you this, they like him. And that's all that really matters. So good for Andrew Wingard to stick around with the team.
At this point, from looking back at last year and how he performed, I mean, he wasn't Ed Reed, but he didn't suck.
No, right.
So I think if Cisco becomes your starter there, and you get Rayshon Jenkins back, you've got good depth at safety.
And you got Thomas too. I like Thomas.
Right,
man. He's a good safety.
And you add Daniel Thomas to that mix.
Daniel Thomas could be a starter.
All of a sudden, you got 2 starters at safety that I'm okay with, and you got 2 backups that I'm okay with.
No doubt.
So in safeties, you rotate a decent amount too. So
4 anyway.
Right.
You need 4 anyway.
And then you re-sign Herndon, you got Darius Williams. I think the entire back end, you look, it's not the best in the league, but it doesn't suck.
Oh, no, I like our back end. I like it. And you bring in Darius Williams, who's a very good corner. You're going to like him.
Very good.
He sticks to people. So, look, I'll tell you this. you give Balky credit. I don't care about all the drama you may or may not have heard. All I care about is results. And I like his draft class last year, and I like what they've done so far. But I will say a big part of it, of these 7, the Magnificent 7 as they're now called, is because of Doug Peters. Period. The
Totally
way he
agree.
coaches, his philosophy, his culture. He's won in the past. That's why you had to have a guy like Doug Peterson running the show here in Jacksonville. You needed that kind of presence. And these guys are coming to play for him. They like Trevor. They're gonna love everything else, but it's Doug Peterson, and he's the driving force, which I think's absolutely incredible. All right, some news and notes throughout. Damian Wilson goes to Carolina. Hey, man, I thought he played well enough to be your middle backer, but hats off to him. He gets another chance, 1-year deal. Of course, we saw Miles Jack go to the Steelers. DJ Chark go to Lions. Word is, we offered him $7-8 million. Lions offered him more. Same term, 1 year. Prove it. I can't blame him for taking $3 more million and going to Detroit for a year. I don't know what that does for his career. If he just has a not so good year, what does it do for DJ Chark? Maybe he's playing, maybe he's not, but save that money. Save that money. And again, I probably would have done it too. I don't know. I might have taken less to stay here and prove myself if I believed in myself. I think the word on DJ is he's not a physically tough, I'm going to make the catch in tough places and get hit. He's not that kind of guy. Whatever. The Lions give him a chance, and I hope he does well. But interesting that he didn't take the deal here for, hey, listen, $3 million is a lot of money. Especially when you're done playing ball and you're in the real world. You'll go back and be like, man, I wish I would have taken it. If the career doesn't extend after that, it's a decision you have to make. He went the money route. It's okay. I don't know if I'm excited about going to golf in Detroit, but hats off to him. Hope it works out for him.
For me, I was a little bit.
Excuse me.
It was a little interesting to me the way things went down with Chark, because if it's true that the Jaguars offered him 1 year 7, Detroit offers him 1 year 10, he goes to Detroit. That makes perfect sense for him. Of course, you go
it's $3 million.
of course. From the Jaguars' perspective, though, it was a little odd based on the way they were throwing out money to guys.
Yep.
It was a little odd they weren't willing to give. And I'm not saying it's good or bad.
Right.
I'm saying it's a little like you're going to pay Zay Jones 3 years 30.
Right.
But if Chark's willing to take a 1 year deal, 1 year for $3 extra million,
right.
What it told me is, in my opinion, it told me that the new staff is not super fond of DJ Chark.
Yeah.
That, in my opinion,
that's why they offered him less to prove it, because they don't feel like he's the guy. But we're willing to do this so you could prove that you're the guy.
And they weren't
gonna a little bit different.
And they weren't gonna miss him that much, based on the fact that they were willing. $3 million was the backbreaker.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah,
that's the other side of it. Like, why would you let him walk for 3? But it goes to show you why, because they don't believe
if he went somewhere and signed a 4-year deal for a boatload of money or what, then that totally different scenario.
Yeah.
But a 1 year prove it for $10 million, I mean, I probably would have done that personally. But to me,
not if he's a one-trick pony. Not if he's only going deep and he's not willing to go over the middle and make the tough catches.
And he's coming off an injury.
Yeah, and he's coming off an injury.
An injury that's
it's
pretty
7
significant.
catches last year. 7.
Right. Yeah.
And he got $10 million. Good for him. The market's incredible. Listen, I know it's easy for me to say. I was never that type of player. I never made millions of dollars in 1 year at all. The market is what it is. The money's phenomenal. Good for them. Make as much as you can. I'm not going to get. It's funny. I told this before. And by the way, later today on the Relevant app, NFL Fanatics channel, In the Huddle will take off at 4 p.m. Sean Salisbury, Randy Cross, Glenn Parker, myself, and NFL writer, insider Ryan Sakamoto. Download the free app and check it out. But I was asking Randy on our last In the Huddle, I said, I'm not trying to sound like an old curmudgeon, but he's like, my last year was $600,000. I'm like, dude, you'd be like a $12 million a year player right now. I mean, seriously, you would. He was that good of a player.
Right.
Like, if you were a free agent right now, you would command one of the highest out there because you were that kind of player. $600K. Now, granted, 1980, late 80s, he ended in 89, but still, you got to sit there and be like, holy cow, that is, wow.
Well,
what a difference.
You were talking about this a little bit earlier in the show about, like, each guy's money and people caring about like if it's worth that and blah, blah, blah. And I completely agree with everything you said. And I wanted to add to that, show me the team that is going to the playoffs every year, going deep into the playoffs every year,
right,
has a legitimate chance to win the Super Bowl in any given year. Show me that team that has every good player at or below market value.
Yeah, right.
No, that team doesn't exist.
Definitely not. Look at the Raiders. Look what they paid for Devontae Adams and Chandler Jones. Now, those are great players, but that's a ton of money.
Right.
And you don't know if the connection. Now, granted, Carr and him are teammates, right? College teammates. They're friends. It shouldn't surprise you he went to Vegas. He just bought a big pad in Vegas. Devontae Adams did like 2 weeks ago. So good for him. Get 28, I think it's $28 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if they have the same chemistry. Carr's not Rodgers.
He's making quarterback money.
I will say, you got Josh McDaniels. I'd be excited about that if I'm a Raider fan. I think his second time around, his offense, I like Carr. Carr's got all the tools. And he can be a really good quarterback at times. There's no doubt about it. Now you add Devontae Adams. Doesn't mean the chemistry won't be there, but that's a big risk. I mean, you have to be thinking that, like, you know, just because he's great in one team, that doesn't always carry over. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it does. We'll see how he's utilized.
But dude, Adams...
Tell me they didn't overpay for him.
Oh, they overpaid big time.
Of course they did. So what? Who
and
cares?
they gave up draft compensation, too.
Gave a big draft compensation.
But, dude, Devontae Adams and Darren Waller...
Oh, sickening. No, I know. The potential's ridiculous.
Unreal.
And you got the running back from Bama, Jaguars.
Right.
He's a beast. I mean, I like Carr. I think Carr's a very good QB, but we'll see what happens there. Taven Bryan goes to Cleveland. We talked about that. A.J. Kahn goes to Houston. Hey, good luck to all of them. No question about that. Mitch Trubisky's your starter in Pittsburgh. Good for him. Look, I don't know. They say he's got all the tools. You know, a big, strong kid, big arm. Let's see if he's matured enough to really handle the rigors. He's going to have to be up in Pittsburgh, but he appears to be Ben Roethlisberger's replacement, so good for him. Tom Brady coming back. What? He's just playing with you people.
His retirement lasted 40 days.
Did you see the last touchdown he threw, the ball, auctioned off for $17,000, and no longer is it the last touchdown.
It was like the day before Brady or something too.
Will ever throw again. I mean, what does that guy do? I mean, or person do? What do you do with that? You can't give it back.
I know.
$517,000.
I know.
Unbelievable.
I think what you do is you just wait it out until he actually retires, and then you just tell all your friends that it actually is the last.
Well, he screwed up my Ryan Jensen pick here. I would have loved that center here, but what have you? Look, we haven't addressed the pass rusher yet. And I'll say this about Hutchinson, okay? I know everyone's looking at him. And I'm not saying he can't be a very good player, but I'll say this. You look at top pass rush. I've got 4 in mind that were drafted high, very high, in the draft in years past. Myles Garrett, Khalil Mack, and the Bosa brothers. Okay? All real high picks.
What about Von Miller?
Throw in Von. Whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Is Hutchinson any of them? When you look at Hutchinson, do you sit there and say, wow, he's going to be as good as Bosa. Oh, he's going to be as good. Oh, he's as good as Myles Garrett. Right? You can't. You can't. So I have a hard time. Like, if he's not that kind of guy, like that's not who we're getting, I don't think I'd take him at number 1. Even if my tackle, I don't know. He worries me. He's a great athlete. He's big. He had one great year. He's got a high motor. That's great. Everybody should have a high motor. By the way, you don't get extra credit for a high motor. It's like when the kids are young and they finish their plate, they don't get extra credit for finishing their plate. You're just supposed to finish the plate, at least in the old school mentality. So I don't like high motor. That means nothing to me. You better have a high motor or you're going to get hurt. You get hurt out there. So I don't get caught up in that too much. Unfortunate, his counterpart on the D-line got hurt today at Michigan's Pro Day. Number 55. I don't have his name handy, but really good player. Probably a top 10 pick himself.
What did he injure?
In the leg. And they had to be helped off the field. It's during the Pro Day. Very sad. Hopefully it's not going to be terrible. But obviously that's a
that
big
type of setting
That's a
is
big one.
that type of setting is the worst possible setting to get hurt.
No, I know it's terrible.
You got a million people watching you. Oh my god!
Absolutely. How about the AFC West? Russ Wilson to Denver. Oh, good for him. Von Miller leaves the West and goes to the Bills. Did you see that money? Good for him. And then I said Devontae Adams to the Raiders. Chandler Jones. I know the Chargers have added. Buffalo's going to be tough. KC's going to be – it's going to be a great year in football, man. I love it. By the way, not only is Lael Collins out there, Fletcher Cox is out there. I know we got our D-line, but, man, if you could figure out a way to get that big guy here, he still can play. He is a beast, and I would love for him next to Fadu Kasi, man. That would be – you ain't touching my backers. Well, if not, I'm slamming your running back into the ground if you think you're getting off on me.
I think you and I discussed this maybe a couple months ago or whenever it was about Josh Allen and how he needs a counterpart and blah, blah, blah. And I think we both said this, I'm pretty sure. Everyone talks about how he was better when Unique was here.
Yep.
Because he was on the opposite side.
Yep.
But people don't talk enough about how much Calais in the middle helped.
Oh, that's
him.
Big. Huge.
And you talk about...
Both are huge, though.
You talk about bringing in Fatu Kasi and then, oh my God, if they got Fletcher Cox.
Right.
You get that inside penetration.
Totally.
You get guys commanding double teams.
Well, you can't double Calais and Ngakoue and Allen.
Right.
Someone's going to be free.
Right.
So that's what you want.
And that's when a guy like Josh Allen could really work.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you got to factor in, team having a lead and making their team throw the ball. And that's a whole nother part of this. The Jaguars not had much.
Yeah.
Recently, they've had a lot of teams just running at them straight downhill. But, I think as much dominance as you can have in the middle of the line, and you just make that center and guard's life hell.
Totally.
Oh, my goodness.
Huge. I think it's going to be interesting. Will it happen before the weekend's up? Deshaun Watson, where he's going. Looks like the Falcons and the Saints. So here's two ways to handle the situation. The Baker Mayfield way and the Matt Ryan way. Baker Mayfield says, when? How dare you? I want out of here. You wanted Deshaun Watson. Matt Ryan says, oh, you want to move my roster bonus back till Tuesday to see if we can get a deal done? No problem. Put me somewhere where I can go and people want me because Atlanta sucks. You know what I'm saying? I mean, gosh, Baker, grow up. And I wouldn't like it either. But the statement, what is with these statements and the cards, even the ones that say goodbye, oh, thanks for the memories and all this stuff. It's just bizarre to me. And then the statements, another young kid making a statement like Baker Mayfield. And now he's saying, oh, it's too far gone. And ownership saying, no, it's not. We control you, buddy, at least for now. I don't know. I think, look, I tell you what, Matt Ryan to the Colts, that's who if I'm the Colts, that's who I'm going after. I want a guy like that. They got a great O-line. He's still got a big arm. He can still whip it around. You had a great running back in Taylor, Jonathan Taylor. I'd be all over him if I were the Indianapolis Colts, if I could get him. But I find it interesting. Like, he was due $7.5 million today, and they both agreed to move it back to Tuesday. So Matt Ryan's, Matty Ice, cool as a cucumber, just said, whatever. You want this, Sean? Great. Let me go somewhere. Don't go to Houston. Don't bring me to Houston. But it's going to be interesting to see where they shake up. So, you just see all this stuff going on, man. It's so exciting. The NFL. And never skipped a beat from the Super Bowl.
None.
Run right into it. It's
None.
nice. It's like there's no lull right now. And it's really cool. I love it. A lot of action.
The NBA has always been the league that has the crazy offseason.
Yeah.
The NFL now has a better offseason and has always had a better season.
Yeah, right.
The NFL is the only league that can completely take the storylines away from March Madness this weekend.
Yeah. And by the way,
it's ridiculous. It's unreal.
Who else are you not even thinking of? The USFL. I mean, you're not even thinking of these other leagues that are thinking about trying. You're like, what? Who cares? It's like we're in season now.
Honestly.
I mean, it does. It feels like we're in season right now with all the action going on, including right here in Jacksonville, which I think is a good thing. Look, does this mean wins? It freaking better. That's all I'm going to say. Look, honeymoon's great. I love Doug right now, too. I love what Trent's doing. I love all the players. I love everybody. But if they don't win, I'm not going to like them very much. I'll tell you that much. So, looks good on paper now. I like it. I do. I think they're all great moves. And I believe Doug Peterson when he says, hey, these were our top targets in free agency, and we got them all. Do you have to overpay? Who cares? It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. They got the cap. They got the money. I love that Shad Khan saying, yeah, go get them. Last year, we knew what the idea was. We're not going to break the bank in free agency. We're not. We're going to do enough, get some really good players in here that don't cost us a ton for that year and future. We got the young QB. We're building around him. And then now this year's the opposite. Let's go get some players, baby, and let's pay that money. So hats off to Shad Khan for opening the pocketbook. Do they even say pocketbook anymore? The wallet? The wire? Whatever, they wire that money. How'd you like to receive a wire for $30 million? Here's your sign-in bonus. It'll be in your bank account later today. I'll be checking that damn thing all day long until it hits. Like, holy cow, how many zeros?
Like hitting refresh constantly.
Awesome. No doubt about that. All right, well, that's going to do it for us this time around. Friday afternoon. I'm going to be out of town next Friday, so I won't be here, but I'll be checking in on the road. I can't tell you where I'm going yet. No, it has nothing to do with the Mafia. I just don't feel like telling everybody where I'm going, but I am going, and I'll be back. Friday night, that is. We'll be back Tuesday for another edition right here on Catching Up with Tommy Mac on the Relevant app, on 1010XL's platform. Appreciate being here. And, of course, check out the Relevant app. We've got video now. Hey, everybody. And a kick it. It's so cool. Right from your phone. It makes it so easy. You can do a podcast from anywhere with a good signal on your phone. And now you can have video. So it's almost like easier Zoom, too. You can do so much with the super app. Make sure you download the free app. It's Relevant, RELEVNT. No A at the end. And you can thank me later. Start your career, expand your career, grow an audience, build an audience, make money off it. You own it. You rock it. And you can do it all right there at the Relevant app. Until next time, stay safe and be cool. And we'll see you right here on Catching Up with Tommy Mac.